Hey everybody, it's Morgan coming to you live from the Nobby Lobby. I'm a little bit late, I'm sorry about that. I had my meeting with my friends this morning to have coffee and hang out. But we are here to talk to you about riding in the winter, specifically about ice screws on tires. So yeah, and then all the other things that go into riding dirt bikes all year long. We know that there are super tons of other really fun options to ride in the winter. There's snowmobiling, snow bikes like timber sleds and things like that. There's a ton of other options, but if you're like me and you don't have a big giant pile of money and you really want to go have fun and hey, Garrett Anderson, Matt Simpson, what's happening? If you really want to go have fun outside in the winter on your dirt bike, there are lots of cool options. So first, we're going to go take a look at what my YZ250 looks like. Good morning to you, Matt. So we're back here in the shop. I'm going to flip the... Mark, what's happening, man? I'm going to flip the camera around if I can find that thing there. And we're going to talk about the trusty YZ250 Jolene. So, Denver Ford, yeah, tuned in to get some snow tires. Heck yeah, dude. So, first of all, let's take a look at what we're running here. We've got a Sedona, whatever that weird 907 thing. Not my favorite tire in the world, but it doesn't really matter for ice tires. So if you take a look here close, you'll see we got this style stud. These are called grip studs, and if you get close on there, you'll see they've got a little carbide tip, and they stick out pretty far. Then you come over here. There we go. To focus. This style is a gold screw, they call. And that is a more traditional... Matt, you like that tire? That's awesome. Everybody's got their own personal preferences. So this gold screw is more of a traditional style thing. Kind of looks like a Trelleborg or something like that. But it, so you can see it's got some wear on it. And you can see that right there, it's got some wear on it. That's from being in the rocks and things like that. Those are not made to be in the rocks. You can see these grip studs still have a nice sharp tip, carbide tip, and these have been in here for 3 years now. So of course last year they didn't get much wear or any use. Actually, they just sat on the shelf because we didn't get any snow. I gotta shut that beeping off. So I'm gonna go do that. Real life here at Highland Cycles. My alarm, I need a new battery for my alarm. So there we go. Anyway, so yeah, let's go back and talk about the bike again. So really the only other thing other than putting screws in tires, right, like that, the only really other thing I've done is I've put these lovely bar mitts, and these are called bar mitts. You can buy them at a bicycle store. We don't have them. We don't offer them. We can't get them as a retailer. But bicycle shops have them. You can see they protect your hands mainly from the wind. So these are great because they're inexpensive, and you can see they've been chewed up and beat on and everything. But they hold up good, and yeah, other than that and jetting the bike properly, that's about all you really need to do. So at least in my experience. So now let's go sit down on the Nobby Lobby and we can talk about what we've done, what that costs, all the things. Grab my coffee because two strokes matter, and we're gonna come back in here. How's everybody doing this morning? Mark Bloom, I just see you tuning in. Why don't you guys give me a what up for how you're doing, what's going on, what the weather's like in your part of the world. Here we are, back in the Nobby Lobby. So, yeah, so ice screws. If you guys have watched my videos, there's a whole pile of them on the Facebooks right now because I've been trying to get people fired up about this stuff. You can definitely see that you can do all kinds of things and go all kinds of places with the ice screws. High of 30 today, right on. It's going to be, I don't know, probably maybe a little bit warmer than that here, Matt, but not a ton. Good morning, Mark, by the way. So anyway, I just showed you the two types of screws. Hey, morning, John. Let me show you the other large differences. John Bowman, what's happening, and talk about the price differences. So the grip studs are the ones that look like this. And let me back that up. Well, I don't know why it's not focusing very well. There we go. Adrian Collins, what's happening? These are really cool because of this carbide tip. They hold up really good in the rocks and stuff like that. The other cool thing is this part of it. So if you see that part of it, see how it's like a huge auger. When you screw that into a tire, it does not want to rip out. It doesn't want to come out of the tire as you're on the gas. So these are about $1 per stud. And there are probably 300 of these things on that YZ250. So it's not inexpensive to run these screws, but I haven't lost a single one. Northern Missouri, right on. The two strokes do matter, Merritt, absolutely. So I haven't lost a single one of these. Donnie Watson, what's happening? In the 3 years I've had those on, again, it's really only 2 years of riding because last year it didn't snow enough to even bother. So we'll just say 2 years. I haven't lost a single one of these studs, and every one of them still has a little carbide tip, so they're all still biting hard in the ice and doing well in the rocks and stuff. So there are those. They're kind of expensive, but they work really, really good, and they hold up really, really well. These are the classic gold screw. You can see the difference between these and a sheet metal screw are, first of all, the metal on these is a little bit harder. And if you look, I don't know if you can see that very well because my camera isn't that great, but you can see that it's dished, okay? So that makes a, how's it going, John Capto? That dishing is a big deal because you see that all the way around it is nice and sharp. So if you go buy sheet metal screws in Home Depot, they actually work for sure, and they're super cheap, but the problem is that this is flat across the top. It might have a tiny little ridge on it, and they wear down super duper duper fast if you hit any rocks at all. And then the end of it is just a normal screw, like it's not very special, and it so these actually will rip out also. But the thing about these, Matt Larson, what's happening, is that, as you can see, you can buy a box of them for $82.95, and they may have gone up a little bit. These are old. John, none of my screws came out after the ride. But the $82.95 for 1,000 of the 5/8 inch. And not during the ride. Nope, no. My setup works pretty good. So for 1,000 of these things, you can afford to, when they come out, put more in. So I really like the grip studs, and I'm going to keep running them into my tires because I'm going to hang on to my tires for a long time. But they, cold cutters on my ice bike. Yeah, so Matt Simpson, thank you for tuning in or chiming in here. So Matt Larson, we'll get to that on, actually we haven't talked about that yet, so don't worry. Cold cutters and Trelleborgs are phenomenal for actually ice racing and riding only on ice. And so actually the gold screws are pretty good for that too. They're not as good as cold cutters. But they, excuse me, I lost my train of thought. But those are more set up for being only on ice and turn in left, or even TT stuff on ice. But the thing about the grip studs is that they are specifically made to go off and on ice. So in the rocks, in the dirt. If you watch the most recent video of me riding on Lower Spring Creek Trail, I was running these because there's only probably at the lower end of it, there's only probably 2-3 inches of snow. And at the upper end, it finally got deep. but it's still just snow, so it was digging down to the dirt to get traction. But bare tires would have just dug, spun on that snow. With these, or even these, it digs down through the snow, grabs the ground, and drives you forward. Matt, you asked about how they are on rocky trails. They're actually a lot better than you might think. They're not it's not like your cheater tire on rocks where it's just hooking up and wheeling everywhere up through the rocks, but they actually work pretty stinking good. If you go to our video and watch it, you'll see one little section where I kind of have a hiccup over some rocks. That's a full-on nothing but rock section, and I was still able to burr through it without spinning too bad. So they actually work pretty stinking well, and it also depends on the kind of rock. If you think about a carbide, anything metal on rock, if it were like granite, which we don't have around here, it would slip probably really bad. But the rocks that we have around here, more sandstony stuff, sedimentary rock. There's a little bit of earth science for my mom. And these actually bite pretty well into that rock. So, and like I said, they don't wear down, which is really nice. And with these giant things, they don't rip out. So, John, you asked, is 5/8 the ticket? That is the next little thing we want to talk about, is the length of these things. How do you install the gold studs on the tire? So hold on, we'll go with the length first, and then Denver Thor, I will get to you. So the length matters because if you're going to run tubes, which I don't, we all know that. If you're going to run tubes, you don't want it going all the way into the tube, or you have to install a liner. I'm sure Matt Simpson, you probably have a liner inside your tire and run big long screws so they don't come out. Matt, maybe chime in and talk about that, if you don't mind. And actually, Matt, since you're an ice racer, if you'd like to join, why don't you say something and I'll hit the thing and bring you in, because you've done way more ice riding than I have. I just mainly like to do trails and stuff. Breakfast tacos. Matt, that's not cool. So anyway, so 5/8 is a pretty good length for a new knob, or a relatively new knob, to go in and hold pretty well. They make longer ones that definitely hold better, but you start getting into needing some sort of liner around your tube to keep from popping. Or you can run mooses and just run them in and not care. The problem with running too long of a screw into a moose is you start to abrade that moose and wear it down faster. So you could theoretically smoke a moose quicker. Like I said, yes, it has a liner. Matt, I'm going to see if you want to come on. Oh, I can't. Dang. Matt, I can't bring you in. If you're on your phone, I should be able to bring you in. If you're on your computer, that's probably why. I just tried. And Matt, what kind of liner do you use? I know some guys use like an old street bike tire that they've cut the sidewalls off and lay it in there. Let us know what kind of liner you have. Install on the gold screws. Denver Thor. The gold screws are really easy. That's like a 1/4 inch, I think, hex head. And you chuck up a 1/4 inch bit in your drill, and you sit down in front of your bike, and if you drink beer, drink beer. If you drink coffee like me, drink coffee, and you start running them in. And you just screw them in. You don't need any kind of prep work or anything like that. They just screw right into the tire. Is it not streaming very well, Steve? Actually, Steve, yeah. Now I know what you're talking about. The Sling Studio, maybe. Anyway, so we'll work on that. And yes, I do need a good tech guy like you, Steve. So these are super easy to install. These are actually really easy to install despite what they look like. When you buy these, they come with a tool. If you see, like, it's got little tool markies right there on the side. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, Matt, you buy the tires all set up. Right on. That's obviously the easiest way to do it. Anyway, these got little tool marks, and what you do is the tool goes over it like this, like a fork, and then these just screw in also. You chuck it up in your drill, Like I said, it doesn't look like it will because of the way it's shaped, but these things go right in the tire and they burp. And the one thing you got to be careful of is you can just you can run them too far in, and then you have to back them out to get them to stick out the right amount. I personally recommend trying to keep this whole mess as cheap as possible. It's kind of the whole idea. Because if I had a massive pile of money the size of this table, I'd probably buy a snow bike and a snowmobile and lots of trailers. And hey, Brian, I just saw you, Brian Christopherson. I would buy all sorts of other fun things to go use in the snow. Or I would take trips to Baja or Costa Rica or something like that. But the reality is I'm a normal guy with a normal income, and I like to go ride my dirt bike a lot. And so in the hopes of keeping this whole mess relatively inexpensive, I like to use old tires, not super worn out because the knobs get short and the things don't bite and all that stuff. Yes, absolutely. That is so true. I buy way too much junk, but and dirt bikes. So, a used set of tires that's just decent is good. You run them in, you mount them up, and you go ride. The other cool thing is the swap time is however long it takes you to change tires. If you happen to have an extra set of wheels, obviously you can set up a set of wheels with ice screws and set up a set of wheels with knobbies and just swap them back and forth. That's the little bit more expensive way to go. But I've been doing a bunch of online selling of junk recently, and really you can buy a set of wheels for a pretty good deal online these days. eBay, just used wheels. For just going trail riding in the snow, you don't need super round wheels. You can buy some old beat up wheels and they'll be just fine. You don't want them to be cracked or broken, but they don't need to be perfectly straight. And, the hand thing is probably the biggest challenge of the whole deal. Emily Raffaella, what's happening? For me, the biggest challenge to the whole snow winter riding, after the traction is sorted out, which we've just talked about, is keeping your hands warm. And my hands don't have great circulation, lots of ice climbing in the past, broken digits and things like that, so my hands get pretty cold pretty fast. And I have tried every kind of glove known to man. I've tried snowmobiling gloves, ice climbing gloves, neoprene gloves, rubber gloves underneath other gloves, all those things. Yeah, Brian, dirt bikes. I've tried all the sorts of gloves you can imagine. I haven't tried any heated, electrically heated gloves because I don't have power on the YZ, and I don't want to have wires. And anyway, so I'm not into that. But from my fat biking stuff that I do on a bicycle, I found that having battery powered heated gloves would probably work really good, Matthew. But again, it's more money to spend. I found that keeping the wind and weather off of your hands is the biggest challenge. Because all those gloves and everything, even with heated grips on street bikes and things like that, the outsides of my fingers have gotten super duper cold, making everything else cold, until I put, hey, Clinton Bowers, what's happening? Until I started putting big pogies like you saw on my bike. If you haven't watching, mittens would stop trying to get to the levers and things like that. It'd be impossible. But putting pogies on has been the one key. And honestly, those ones, I think when they were brand new, were $75 for those neoprene ones. You can find them used cheap online, on eBay, things like that. Slap those on there. You don't have to worry about scratching them and tearing them and things like that when you fall down. And it really does keep your hands warm. When you start having to clutch and brake a lot, you start getting my fingers start to get cold because of that. But the nice thing is you stop and, warm them up and you're all good for a long time. Or if you get a nice smooth section where you don't have to put too much input into your hands, you'll be fine too. So yeah, I love giant loop brush guards. Yeah, they would work. Ooh, diving gloves. I haven't tried that. That's not a bad idea. Matthew Christopher, the the big brush guards I think probably would work. Javier has some big moose ones like from an ATV on there. It works, and I think they help for sure more than just like a normal shield. But having the pogies that go all the way that you reach your hand down into makes a giant difference. And having that like little mini climate inside on your bars makes a big difference. Yeah, and ask any questions, please, as always. Joe Hawkins, what's happening? Any questions at all about all this stuff? I'm gonna go. Hey, Chandler Henley, I'm gonna go back over real quick the screws and stuff. So, and we stock. I have these in stock. Javier, yes, bombonas will help with Javier. By the way, a bombona is a growler of beer. And Javier and I like to give each other a hard time because I don't drink. He drinks a lot, and I'm just kidding. Anyway, these are called grip studs. Mark, Sierra, Javier, I think is doing well. Javier, you can answer. Javier is down in Uruguay, is where he had his surgery done, and he will be back February 1st. Difficult loading, keeping him slide the bed. Oh, no, that's not a stupid question, Denver Thor, at all. Yes, it can be a bit of a challenge as you roll the bike into a truck. In my van, for instance, especially with these screws. If you're loading a bike with these screws, then I don't know where. Sorry, Javier just asked where is Goofy Boy talking about Corbin, and I don't know where Corbin Davis is. He's probably actually working. Anyway, loading with these, they absolutely slip around. With these carbide tips, they don't slip nearly as much, but it is a thing. Like, you're scooting it up in the metal. Tim came in. Do your hands come out of those handlebar covers easy when you wad up? Oh, yeah. So, Tim, yes, they come out pretty easily. The other thing is, in the snow and stuff like that, when you fall, honestly, sometimes I try to keep my hands in there, which can equal kind of a like a rough fall and funny to watch. But I try to keep my hands out of the snow when I fall down in it, because as soon as you put your hands in the snow, if you don't have waterproof gloves, which I own but don't use that much because they're kind of big and clumsy, as soon as you put your hands in the snow, they get super cold. Yes, Clinton, I know. So I try to keep my hands in there. So even if I'm falling on hey, Mitch Sheets, what's happening? How's your head doing, Mitch? Just checking in on. Mitch had a kind of a rough crash and a head injury a little while ago, so I'm checking in on him. So good to see it. Good to see you on here, Mitch. So I try to keep my hands in there, but yeah, it's a bit restrictive. Having your hands inside there, you get used to it. It's kind of like the same idea of having bark busters. It doesn't bother me at all to have my hands inside there. I ride my fat bike with them all the time, so you just get used to it. Sometimes you have a weird crash and it gets a little odd, but it happens. Let's see. So carburetor icing. So I don't know if anybody's going to ask about that, but it is a thing, especially on snow bikes. Neoprene scuba. There you go. Javier says neoprene scuba gloves work well for cold weather. I'm sure they do. The one thing I can say, we'll go back to the carburetor icing in a second, about neoprene gloves. I get the dry ones, the ones that actually keep the water out. And any neoprene glove is, because guys have used them. Yeah, I bet, Mitch. Any neoprene glove, like people have used them ice climbing, is that when you get hot and sweaty, which happens with neoprene, it's fine as long as you keep moving and you stay hot and sweaty. But as soon as you stop moving and like take your hands out to do something like take a picture or fix a bike or something like that, your hands freeze because they're wet. And even if you don't take your hands out of the gloves, I've had my gloves freeze up when it's super duper cold outside. So that's the one caveat I say about neoprene or any kind of like vapor barrier where you're trying to keep all the moisture out. It also keeps all the moisture in. So something to think about. And really, I say just try it all out. Like, I mean, obviously you can't go around just buying gloves like crazy, but because it's expensive. But try them, try different things, borrow things from people, whatever. Do different things to see how it's going to work, because everybody's different. Everybody's body's a little bit different. I sweat a lot, for instance, because I'm kind of fat, so that's a thing. So I gotta do things that keep the moisture away from me. So carburetor icing. Here's the thing. I've never had a problem with carburetor icing running a bike in 6 to 8 inches of snow and on ice, even down to -10 degrees over in Gunnison a few years ago. Never had a problem. When I had a snow bike on my 300 with Electron, the carburetor iced up instantly in the deep snow, and I had to put a carburetor heater on it that used coolant from the motor, and it was actually super slick but kind of pricey and a pain in the butt to install. That was really, really cool, but it's a pain, and I don't want to do that to my dirt bike. There we go, Harbor Freight 7mm gloves. So yeah, well, I'm gonna try that Denver Thor, because I've never done that. I know a lot of guys do, so I'll give that a shot, and I'll let you guys know how it goes, because we're gonna ride Monday in the snow. By the way, if anybody wants to come, we're closed on Mondays, so I'm going to go ride on Mondays, and I'm going to take my ice bike out. So I have never had, like I said, carburetor issues in snow that wasn't super deep. On last Monday when I went out, there we go, John, thank you, because your hands will freeze if you take them off. You get a little wet, it's rough. So on last Monday when I went out and rode, I had no problems going fast. It was pretty cold. It was probably 15, 20 degrees. It's not super cold, but right up. As the snow started getting deeper, I started feeling just a little bit of resistance in the throttle when I would kind of hold it in the same position for a while and then try to gas it. It would kind of feel like it's breaking loose. So I think the carburetor is trying to ice up. As soon as I got down where the snow wasn't just billowing up around the motor, it went away. So if you're going to be in the deep snow, you're probably going to need to do something about carburetor icing. And unless you have fuel injected 4-stroke, which they work awesome in the snow, unless you have that, if you've got a carburetor, especially 2-strokes, excuse me, my legs are messed up. Especially 2-stroke stuff, the carburetor will ice up. So Mechanics Winter Gloves. Mitch Cheat says, I use Mechanics Winter Gloves and some old Moose utility snow pods. It works awesome. Right on. Thanks, Mitch. Mitch lives up in Iowa, where it gets cold and they go snow and ice riding a lot, I believe, when his head's all straightened up. By the way, Mitch, when do you get to ride again? Let us know. Javier says, ride in the heat, go to the desert. Fair enough. I gotta work. So I would love to go to the desert and ride more out there. But honestly, I love riding in the snow. It is so much fun. I like snow. Will Willits, what's happening? Yeah, everybody, I've had a lot of people say, well, why don't you just go to buy, and get out of here. And I will, hopefully I'm going to get down to St. George in January and maybe hate the heat. Yes, Matt. I also hate too much heat. I like, when it's 60. Yeah, Denver Thor. Hell no, I want snow tires. Yes, I love it. I do too. I love snow. But yeah, I'll probably get out to California. I'm hoping to go race the National Hare and Hound first round at the end of January. I love doing that, but honestly, I love riding in the snow. It is so much stinking fun. Nate Scott, what's happening from Bulletproof Designs? What up? Nate Scott is here. He's the owner of Bulletproof Designs. And 2 more months, Mitch. that is a bummer, but I'm psyched to hear it's only that long. I'm glad you're going to be back on the bike soon. I hope you're going to come out this summer and ride with us again. That's going to be cool if you do. Yeah, John, it is another level when you have traction and you put studs in. And if you, John, if you want to do it on the super cheap, buy a set of these. Don't go to, I mean, you can go to Home Depot and do it. It's actually not even that cheap when you go to Home Depot or the hardware store. Really, it's not a whole lot less than these. Buy 1,000 of these dumb things. You need about 300 to 400 to go have fun. So you could actually do two bikes, so your buddies could split this thing. You could, like I said, you could split this thing. It's only, you know, what's that going to be? $45 a person after tax and everything. So go have fun. Could hiding that bike and go riding. Yes, Jeremy. See you Saturday morning. Right on. I love that you guys are talking to each other. Hey, Nicole Bradford, what's happening? Nicole, have you ever ridden in the snow? Denver Thor, yes, I stocked these gold screws. I'm out right now. I'm getting more by the end of this week or early next week. So I will have these things. I could also drop ship you some, Denver Thor. So shoot me a message after all this. We don't have to. This is not a sales talk. The whole idea of the Gospel of Two Wheels is not for. I mean, I love it if you guys want to buy stuff, and I really appreciate that. That's awesome. But really, what this is about is spreading the Gospel of Two Wheels and getting you guys out on your dirt bikes, because that is the most important part. I just really want you guys out riding, and if you live in Colorado or you live where it gets cold and you don't have the money to travel, or you don't have the time, or you don't have the desire, or you just love winter, then I want you to get some screws in your tires and go ride. If you love it like I love it, and you maybe want to invest some money later, then the grip studs are awesome. We do sell those also, so whatever. They are expensive, so it's like $1 a stud, so you're going to have $300, $400, maybe $500 if you want to just do all of those. Oh, back to my YZ and why it looks like it does. The reason it's only got, it's, hey, Mickey Payne from Oklahoma. It's got grip studs, got about $300 worth of grip studs in it, and then the rest of those knobs are filled up with gold screws to save some money. So I put the gold screws in, they wear down and come out, I put new ones in. I just run new ones in, it's no big deal. I do run mooses. I've mentioned that before. Everybody knows I run mooses and everything, but I run mooses in ice tires because it's so much easier to deal with. Dave Dessel, what's happening? But mooses, I don't know how a Christini would be in the, Matt Andreas asked, so I wonder what a Christini would be in the snow. I'm not sure. How many per knob? Matt Larson, depends on the size of knob. Mitch Sheets, Trailborg's best traction ever. Mitch, have you ever tried the grip studs? Because I know Trailborgs are awesome. I've never actually run them. I know they're super good, but the thing I love about the grip studs is the tip, just the tip. So that carbide tip is amazing for holding up on the rocks. And we have a lot more rocks out here than you do in Iowa. So when I go trail riding, there's rocks, especially like the video of me riding up Lower Spring Creek there's a ton of rock in that thing. And I think the Trailborgs or I know the gold screws wear out really fast because they're on my bike. Back to the how many per knob, depends on the size of the knob. If it's a big knob like on the 907, and maybe I'll walk back there again and show you guys. They've got these kind of giant things. I put 3 in those knobs. Christini's rock in the snows with trellies, says Steve Kanya. Awesome. It sounds like it would be good. Hey, Jason Hernandez, haven't seen you in a while, man. Good to see you're on here. Come in and say hi. I bet the Christini would be sweet in the snow. Yeah, I'm sure it would be like super duper traction. It would be nice because my front end, the one thing, when the snow starts getting deep, the back tire will dig down to the traction and drive you forward, but the front tire gets all sorts of wandery and vague as it floats on the snow, and it can get a little bit sketchy. So yeah, I can imagine the Crostini would be nice because it would rotate and dig down to the good stuff. So, yeah, that would be cool. I've never tried a Crostini in any way, shape, or form, so I have no basis, but I think Steve makes tires, and I think he's a very knowledgeable dude, so I would trust what he says. Any other questions, everybody? What time is it? Oh, we're past time. So I'm gonna keep going here for a little bit because I'm having a lovely cup of coffee from the Coffee Trader. Not sponsoring the place, but hey, if you're in Montrose, go to the Coffee Trader. 2 locations, they're great. So, yeah. Let's see what else is going on. No giant news here except for that Matt. Yes. Sadly, Javier, our wizard mechanic and suspension guy, is down and out till February 1st. He's had surgery on his wrist. It's healing up. He's getting better. He's going to be good as new when he gets back to the States. So right now we are not doing any custom suspension work because I don't know how to do that. It's about the same money for Troublworks. Stay away from any. All right, I'm cool. You guys read the comment. John Hill, thank you for the yes. Okay, Rock and Roll Club, or we'll call it the Punk Rock Club. Give me the horns. Scott Gross, what's happening? Give me the rock and roll sign if you're still here. You're staying around and watching the whole video. I really appreciate it. Even if you're watching this later, if you watch it at the end, give me the rock and roll sign to show me that you love what we're doing here, that you love the Gospel of Two Wheels. If you guys really like this show, and man, every week it seems like more and more people are chiming in. Chandler Henry, thank you. More and more people are watching. I'm really, 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 really happy about that. I'm just having fun doing it. I want to, like I said, spread the love, spread the happiness. I want people out riding their dirt bikes, having fun. So if you like this, please share this video. It's going up on YouTube. Also, I try to get them up there every now and then. They'll all be there eventually. I'm trying to do them more regularly now. Yes, Corey. Yes, Denver. Yes, Garrett. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Mark, yeah, right on. Thank you guys so much, guys. It's so good. Punk Rock Club, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate all the support. Yeah, thanks, guys. If you like us, you like what we do, subscribe, share, comment, all that stuff. It really helps us with our social media following. Yeah, I love it. If you guys want to ride in the snow, come talk to me. We can get you out. If you want to, you don't have the rock and roll emoji mid-sheets, you need a new phone. Craig Hernke, what's happening? Yeah, if you guys want to come ride, hit us up. Let me know. Shoot me messages. We'll get you out. Figure it out. Maybe I'll put screws in Daisy, the Wonder Bike, our rental bike, and we'll take some people out on that too. So, yeah, I love it, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to head out now and get to work. I've got a new, Punk Rock and Ska. Absolutely, Javier. New bib mounting video coming. I've already gotten crap about having lube on the moose and not in the tire. That's because the Murphy seems to stick better to the moose. It's also in the tire and it's on the moose, and I like as much as humanly possible. Yes, it gets everywhere. Yes, it causes a mess. I don't care. I work in a shop. I get dirty anyway, so there's that. You need some stickers to put them in dirt. Yeah, okay. John, shoot me a message. We'll get you some stickers. And yes, Mitch, it is so much fun out in the Adobe Hills riding in the snow. That, by the way, takes just the right day. It's got to stay. Yes, lube. I don't care. Like Jeremy Schoening, I hope you watch this, and I don't care how much lube gets everywhere. Get sheets of new. Yes, Jeremy Dillman. Thank you. That is awesome. Sheets of new helmet and a phone. By the way, Mitch, if you're still here, what helmet were you wearing when you went down? And you don't have to give us the whole thing of what happened, but what helmet were you wearing, and do you already have a new one for 2 months from now? Yeah, guys, I'm gonna get back after it. If you want stickers, if you want hats, if you want that stuff, shoot me a message. We'll figure it out. Some of it costs money, some of it's free. We'll talk about it. Put the whole bucket of lube in there. Yes, Garrett. I put a crap load of lube all over your mooses. So, yeah, guys, thank you. Spread the gospel of two wheels. Get more people out on motorcycles. Tell your kids to ride. Tell your mom to ride. Tell your dad to ride. Yeah, get out and freaking ride your dirt bikes.